Hello everybody, this is King of Horror, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 2023 Spirit Halloween Gourdo Animatronic. Now I've created a system that will tally up the score across 4 different categories, those being audio, so if the voice lines and or ambient noises sound good, and if the quality of the audio is good, like not too loud, not too quiet, not distorted. The second category is appearance, if it just looks creepy and overall aesthetically pleasing. The third category is assembly, so how easy it was to set up. And the final and most important category being the scare factor. So how people will react when they see this thing go off. And in each category, it will be scored on a 1 to 5 points basis. Half points will be allowed, so I could give it a 4.5 or a 3.5. And the way this works is, let's just say it scores a 17. I would multiply that by 5 because the max possible score you can get is 20, and if you multiply that by 5 you get 100. So these will be scored out of 100 in the end. So I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully you'll get it. So without further ado, let's get into the first category. So our first category is the assembly process, and I gotta say, this was probably the easiest assembly I've ever done. Not counting the ones that just come completely as they are, like jumping spider. This one was very simple. All you gotta do is insert the poles into the base to create the frame, put the pumpkin on top, and wrap the fabric cover around it, and you're pretty much good to go. The only issue I had with it was that the poles were a little crooked, so I couldn't get the pumpkin in first try. It took me about 5 to 8 minutes to align the pumpkin properly, just because the poles aren't skinny enough and they're a little cockeyed. So in terms of assembly, I'd probably give this guy a 4.5. It would almost be perfect, with the exception of that one minor issue I had. So the next category we have is audio. And for Gourdo, I have some pros and I have some cons. For one, starting with the pros, I think the jump scare kind of shout sounds really good, and it's just right. And the audio levels are good too. Like, they're not too quiet, not too loud, they're not distorted. My issue with the audio is I think they piped in too many ambient noises. Like, you got crows calling, you've got wind blowing, you've got cats yowling. That's my biggest issue. The cat meows like 6 times. And it's like, is this a pumpkin or a cat? Like, the crows make sense, the wind makes sense, the cat doesn't. So I'd say the pros probably outweigh the cons. It's like a tie between 3.5 and 4. I'll go with 4, just give it the benefit of the doubt. I think it has pretty good audio. Our third category is appearance, and I gotta say, Gourdo looks amazing. The appearance is most of the reason why I bought him. The pumpkin looks really good. It's hard to make a pumpkin that pops up realistic, but this is about as close as you can get. The detailing on the face looks super good. The carved mouth looks really good. The lighting looks really good, especially when it's on that constantly lit mode. Actually, that's not a mode, it's always constantly lit. The pillar looks pretty good when you set it up right. Sometimes the corners look a bit too rounded, but that's okay. I didn't really like it at first, the pillar, but it's growing on me a lot, and I think if you look at it quickly, it will look like an actual pillar. Um, the guts inside look really good, even though it's fabric, you can't really tell from a distance. Even close up, unless you feel it, you won't know. And the creepy cloth that dangles down looks really good, especially when it pops up. And hands down, this guy gets a 5 for appearance. This guy is just so cool to look at. We have come to the final and arguably most important category, that being the scare factor. Um, I don't know. I really don't know. Gourdo looks awesome. The noises are pretty good. It could get a reaction if you don't know what you're looking at. But it takes an awfully long time to charge up, and by the time it pops open, you probably won't even notice. You'll have walked by already. Um, that brings the score down a little bit. Also, how the eyes start flashing, you kind of know it's coming. So I feel like this could definitely get a reaction out of younger children, even some older kids if they're a bit flighty. Um, but as for everybody else, it's a little too short and it takes too long to charge up, and it's pretty obvious that a jump scare is coming. So I think this guy will have to get a... I don't want to do this. I don't want to give him a 3.5. But at the same time, it's a it's a it's an okay jump scare. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll give him a 4. Well, that's it. Gourdo has scored an 87.5 out of 100. Not too shabby. He's still definitely my favorite of the 2023 season, and I'm so glad that I managed to pick him up because I can't find him anywhere. Well, that's all for today. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to keep posted for others just like this. See you next time. Bye.